What's up, weirdos? Shadetree Surgeon here, and welcome back to another sort of XS650 chopper build series. I say sort of because basically we're getting stuff ready to be able to work on the bike better. You see, there's something that everybody's just been loving to point out, and trust me, I'm aware of it, but yes, I know it looks really janky and really terrible, and it makes it so hard to use when your vise isn't bolted down. So I keep hammering on things and welding on things and using this vise, and everybody's seeing it get knocked all over the place, and they're going, would you for the love of God bolt that vise down? So today, that's what we're gonna work on. And no, we're not just gonna bolt it to my long-suffering workbench because space there is super limited. In fact, space in my garage is super limited. So what we're gonna do today is hopefully we're gonna make a mobile platform that can have both my grinder on it, a vise, and hopefully a drill press, which I don't currently own a drill press, but I would like to own one. I need it to be mobile because my garage is so small. I need it to be mobile because I need every available inch of the workbench I have now, and I can't afford to have something permanently mounted there. And maybe I could have just bought something to bolt it to. I don't know. I don't know if this actually exists, to be honest with you. I didn't even check. I just figured, hey, I can make a box with wheels on it, right? After all, that's the whole point of this series, is saying, hey, if you don't know anything about building choppers or working on stuff in general, you can figure this out. So guess what? I'm not a woodworker. So I figured I've been pissing off everybody who works with metal and pissing off everybody who works on bikes. I might as well piss off people who work with wood too. So let's get to it. So again, this is my long-suffering workbench with the unbolted vise on it, the culprit and the reason for today's video. And this is basically the space I need this to go in. I need to go here. It's not going to always be there, but I need to get it out of the way when I'm doing stuff. So I can't make it too big because then it'll be too unwieldy, but I do have to make it big enough for the vise and a grinder and a drill press, or at the very least, a vise and a drill press. This is the grinder I currently have. I would probably rather get a nicer one if I'm going to have it be permanently mounted to something I'm going to build, but since this is a pretty large grinder, I figure it'll work in so much as just for measuring purposes. So just like my grandpappy always said, measure once, cut twice. I'm gonna go ahead and measure twice this time though, even though I made my little joke, because I did it wrong. And that should be my top, almost. Gotta cut it to length now. You guys remember, like I said before, I am not by any means a carpenter. So if you see me doing something wrong, and trust me, I probably will, feel free to point it out. That doesn't look very good. So it came out reasonably where I wanted to. This is 31 by 25. I mean, maybe we're off by just a hair, but not much of a hair. All right, next step is to make the sides, and I want it to be about 37 inches tall, which is how tall my other bench is, but I have to take into account the thickness of the plywood, which is 3/4 inch, of course, on the top and on the bottom, and I have to take into account the wheels, which are 4 inches. So that's about 5.5 inches that I'm gonna have to make the sides shorter than the actual 37 inches, but since this is pretty much government work, let's go ahead and round it to 5 inches. God damn it. Well, as you can see, I kind of screwed the pooch on this side, but it's nothing a little sanding can't take care of. Life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. So I've got these two pieces that are supposed to be the same, except they ain't. So I got some sanding to do in order to make these things identical, because if they're not, or at least closer to identical than I have them, then my whole setup's going to be sitting cockeyed. All right, now that I have two pieces of wood for the sides that are reasonably similar, and I use the term reasonably very liberally, trust me. I'm gonna make the bottom now. now we're getting somewhere. All right, well, this is the bottom, and this is the first side that I'm attaching. I got them held together with a clamp, and now it's time to throw some screws in it and create the first side. Now, before I get too excited, I forgot to put wood glue on it, and I do want to do that because even though this cart might be ugly, I want it to last. Well, fuck. As you can see, I was very careful to get everything perfectly evenly spaced. Yeah, right. And for the other side. Well, alright, that sucker is starting to look like a box. So, now that it's starting to look like a box, let's complete the look and put the top on it. And I'm starting to lose daylight here, so I really got to get this thing done. I'm going to show this just because I always show my fuck-ups, and you guys should see this so you know what not to do, or I can't really tell you what not to do because I don't know what to do. Like I said, I'm not a carpenter, so when you start to put it together, that's when my not-so-straight lines really start to become apparent. Alright, so I got the top tacked in place. What I really want to do, instead of having the screws go in from the top, is put them in at an angle here from the bottom so the top is completely smooth. But I don't know if I can do that without fucking up because I really don't know what I'm doing. Alright, the sun's almost down. I broke 2 drill bits, but we have a box. It's not the world's most beautiful box, but it's my box. Now, let's make this box roll. Oh, look at that. Well, I was supposed to spin. It's locked. Let's try that again. Oh, it's still locked. Alright, how about now? Well, look at that, it spins. Alright, it's officially dark out, so we've retreated back into the garage to finish this sucker up. So now that I have a box and my box has wheels, it's time to put a back on my box. So let's go ahead and glue this down and nail it in. Alright, my box has a back. Oh, don't fucking knock the camera over, shit. Alright, my box rolls, my box has a back. Now, let's make my box look a little bit prettier. Now, normally I don't like using the circular saw inside the garage because all the bikes are in here, but I've only got a couple of shortcuts to make. All the stuff I'm doing now really isn't necessary, but, you know, I want it to look kind of nice, you know? I'm gonna put a couple trim pieces on it and see if I can't make it look halfway fucking decent. You know, I keep moving this around, and I put wheel locks on it for a fucking reason. Life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. God fucking damn it. That's why you fucking drill holes, dipshit. Alright, now that my box looks a little bit better, and I mean just a little bit, it's time to go ahead and mount the whole reason I started this stupid box in the first place. Let's drill the holes for my vise. Not gonna lie, this part is a little scary because I'm essentially putting some big holes in this thing that I've just spent all day building. Here goes nothing. Let's hope I don't fuck this up. Holes are actually not quite big enough. Try again. No, I'm not nailing it in, just, it's a tight fit, so I'm easing them in with the help of a hammer. Well, there you go. Ridiculous amount of screws and all. There's my box, and there's my vise. Now my vise is mounted. Now, I'm not done with this.
I think I'm probably going to add some shelving in here, or maybe if I really feel fancy, I'll actually make them drawers. But I don't think my skill level is going to get that high. And of course, I'll end up staining it as well and making it look a little bit nicer if I can even ever make it something approaching nice. But nice has nothing to do with it because the motherfucker is going to stay together. It's built like a brick shit house, and I think it's going to be just fine. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to mount this bench grinder yet because I think I might want to actually get a nicer one. This is just some Harbor Freight thing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this brand. It's a Central Machinery, but I didn't pay much for it. I've used it a bunch of times, but it is a Harbor Freight brand, so I don't know if I want to permanently mount something like that to my bench my roll around box that I spent all this time building, you know what I mean? This vise is mounted here. I can take it off if I want, which I will when I go to stain all this, but now you guys can shut the hell up. I have a vise that's mounted. You're welcome.
So I guess the real question is why? Why did I take all this time to make this stupid box so I can mount my vise on there instead of just buying something that was already made? Well, besides the fact that I actually couldn't find something that suited what I needed, I wanted something that was bar height, like the same height as my workbench, but I wanted to be able to roll around. I wanted it to be made out of wood, and I wanted it to be large enough to accommodate 3 separate stations, being a vise, a grinder, and a drill press. I really couldn't find anything that fit the bill. I found a couple of carts that kind of came close to what I was looking for, but honestly, they don't have what I was looking for, so my only option was to make it myself. Now, I'm not saying I made the best cart possible. There are plenty of dudes who are way better at woodworking than I am. In fact, I'm not good at woodworking at all, in so much as I don't know anything about it, but I know how to put a screw into something, I know how to drill a hole, I know how to glue something together, and I sort of know how to measure something to length, so I can figure it out. And again, that's what kind of this whole thing is about. The entire XS650 build series has been about, you might not know exactly what to do, but you can figure it out. You can figure this out, and you can do it as long as you put your mind to it and you're able to check the internet every once in a while. So there, now not only can everybody shut the fuck up about my vise not being mounted to something, but I also now have an awesome roll around cart that I will have for years and years and years probably, and I'll be able to look at it and know that, hey, I built that thing. Now, was it worth it? Did I save money? I don't know, you tell me. It cost me about $100 in materials to build this thing, and all goddamn day. So I don't know what dollar amount I'm gonna put on my time. From the quality craftsmanship of the box I've built, I'm gonna go ahead and put my dollar way low. It's gonna be a way low. I'm not getting paid much if this is the kind of work I'm producing, but it still took me all goddamn day. But it was fun. I had a great time, and there we go. Now I got a box. So see you in the next one. Until then, keep it weird, y'all, and I promise, next time we'll actually work on motorcycles.